Rick Wilson.
Molly Jong-Fast with your cute pet in hand.
I have a little hairless dog on my lap, and we're here to talk about how things are going. And in case you're wondering, this week, Donald Trump pardoned a Democrat congressman,
Yes.
Henry Cuellar
Yep.
of the Rio Grande Valley, and R plus. He's like a Manchin character, right? A Joe Manchin.
Yep.
He's from a district that a Democrat would not win.
Correct.
He pardoned him. Who knows why? Maybe because he just loves freedom, or
Could be
maybe
freedom.
because he considers white collar crimes to not actually be crimes. That's my theory.
That is, I think that theory's got a lot of weight.
He pardons him. Cuellar then immediately registers to run again as a Democrat.
Chef's kiss, baby. Chef's kiss. You know, this is one of the things, Molly, that I find fascinating about Pardon-Palooza. So we're killing people in speedboats down in Venezuela and in the Pacific.
That's because they might have drugs, though they also might have fish.
They hypothetically might have conceivably had drugs, but they weren't going to the U.S. They were going to Suriname. But, you know, we might kill them anyway.
Look, man, gotta distract from the Epstein files.
Yep. We pardon the president of Honduras, who is serving federal time for engaging in massive cocaine smuggling and fentanyl smuggling into America, because Roger Stone, that degenerate fop weirdo miracle of phrenology, takes Trump a letter that he clearly wrote, like, "Imperial Lord Trump, I love thee." And he pardons Cuellar for whatever reason. I don't know if somebody said to him, hey, maybe he'll switch, or maybe we've got a deal, and then Cuellar turned around and screwed them. But if he did turn around and screw them, I salute him for that. Honestly, mad props. Game knows game, brother.
Well, you know who doesn't salute him?
Me?
Do you know who is not happy with this development?
Donald John Trump?
He had a truth today, which was then, you know, it's an important truth because Rapid Response 47 then tweeted it, so we could know what was happening.
Of course, Rapid Response 47, whatever weird incel weirdo who's taking time off from curating his anime doll collection.
He is real mad, and there are a lot of words that are capitalized in this very long truth.
Capitalized.
But I'm going to read you sort of the highlights.
If you would.
They were treated so badly. Explanation point. I signed the papers and said to the people in the Oval Office that I did a very good job saving things. God, was he happy that day? Then it happened. Explanation point. Explanation point. Only a short time after signing the pardon, Congressman Henry Cuellar announced that he will be running for Congress. He puts running in quotes in the great state of Texas as a Democrat.
Ooh, Donald's mad now.
Such a lack of loyalty, explanation point. Oh, well, next time, no more Mr. Nice Guy, explanation point. And it's signed, President Donald J. Trump.
No thank you for your attention to this matter? That would have made it official.
I do enjoy a thank you for your attention to this matter, but I think that the point here is that my man is a mobster, and so I think, right?
The correct analysis of Donald Trump is that he is a crime boss.
Yeah.
There's no alternate analysis of it. There's no secondary analysis of it. Everything he does is motivated by graft and greed and scamming and making money.
It's quid pro.
It's quid pro dough. It's, you know, the whole thing is the guy is just absolutely
quid pro yo.
Quid pro yo works too, but the whole thing is just absolutely flagrantly corrupt at every turn. And there's nothing about this raft of pardons he's been doing that in any way has anything to do with justice. They're all criminals. I mean, he's pardoning all these cyber bros who are literally in business with his sons.
There's a graphic that shows that Donald Trump has pardoned more than 1,000 people. This is like about 10 times.
Well, it's like 1,600 if you count the, yeah.
So if you count the January 6th rioters, which is hundreds of people that he also pardoned, I think there are a number of important reasons to talk about Pardon-Palooza, but the biggest of which is that he is clearly running some kind of situation here where he's pardoning people.
Listen, they were doing it in the end of the last administration, into the last Trump administration, where Matt Schlapp and Roger Stone and all these other guys and Gates were going to Trump and getting these pardons for people, and there was reporting at the time that cash was changing hands. And I nothing would surprise me less than this being a pay to play.
Jesse has brought up a really important point, and then I want to talk about the problem Republicans find themselves in, which I think you'll appreciate. Jesse has a quote from George Stephanopoulos. He is interviewing Eric Schmidt. You may
Yep.
remember Eric Schmidt. He is
Mhm.
the senator from Missouri. Missouri?
Yep.
He says, Stephanopoulos, and I think this is really the thing that everyone needs to ask Republican senators, and I think it gets me to another thing I want to talk about, which is Stephanopoulos says, "Do you support this pardon of the former Honduran president?" And the senator says, "I'm not familiar."
So this is the 2025 equivalent of I didn't read the tweet. Remember in the first administration that was always well, I didn't see the tweet. Whenever Trump would say something horrible or racist or insane, I didn't see the tweet. Now it's I'm not familiar with the details of that case. The Senate in particular has been an embarrassment about holding Trump to account because they have a relatively greater amount of political power to do so. The House is just, the House is what it is. I do find it kind of amazing that even somebody as dull-witted as Eric Schmidt thinks he can get away and fool people that this is somehow
He
not
missed it.
lavish
Yeah.
corruption that he's completely aware about.
Now I'm gonna take you somewhere with this because I think it's really
All
important.
right. A
We're
journey into
going on an
space and
advent we're
time.
going on an adventure. We see Republicans unable to separate themselves from Trump
Mhm.
because they're scared of Trump.
Right.
But as Trump gets to be more and more kryptonite, they find themselves in a problem.
Mhm.
And I'd love you to talk about that because, like, I feel like we see people illustrate this. Like, here's Stefanik fighting with Mike Johnson, obviously trying to show that she's like could be a normal blue state
Right,
Republican.
right.
Talk us through what's happening here.
Look, so to bifurcate that question, let me do Elise really quickly. She
Yeah.
is gonna desperately try to be again, she's gonna try to reclaim her normie cred. Watch what happens. She'll be all of a sudden back to like, "Oh, I was at the Harvard Institute of Politics. I helped Mitt
Mm-hmm.
Romney. I worked for George Bush." You watch what she does. It will not work. Kathy Hochul may not be America's favorite governor or New York's favorite governor, but if it's a choice between Kathy Hochul and Elise Stefanik, the Gretchen Wieners of American politics, Elise Stefanik's gonna get blown out. She cannot move to the center. There's no getting there. The video of her talking about Trump over and over and over and over again, it's the quotes that launched 10,000 ads.
Yeah.
As for the rest of these guys, there was a stat out the other day about the 26 districts where they're the most vulnerable Republicans, and of those 26, 21 of them vote with Trump 100% of the time. That is psychotic. That doesn't happen ever.
Right.
Barack Obama didn't have Democrats voting with him 100% of the time. Bill
Right.
Clinton didn't have Democrats voting with him, 60% of the time. This is insane. It is not a sign of a strong party. It's a sign of a brittle, weak party that is so afraid of losing a primary because Trump has a mean tweet about them that they're going to strap themselves to this guy and they're going to ride the burning wreckage all the way down. They can't get away from him. If they break from him, remember,
He'll take
folks,
them down.
there's nothing Trump hates more. Trump doesn't even hate Democrats. There's nothing he hates more than a Republican who doesn't obey him.
Is that true, Rick?
Yeah.
Tell me more.
No, this
I
is
know
a
you're speaking from personal experience here.
yeah, I am indeed, but this is a long-running pattern with Trump. He has more hostility toward apostate Republicans or anyone who would dream of opposing him from his own party than he does for the most liberal Democrats. In fact, you saw this with Mondani.
Right.
Trump, sat there feeling weirdly conflicted about Mondani in the Oval Office because he likes game.
Mhm.
People, game knows game. But with Republicans, his favorite hobby is to humiliate the ones that kiss his ass and then deviate even in the slightest little bit. That's why he's
So
going after, not only the MTGs, but he'll start going after these other people and their consultants. I know this for a fact. I spoke to a Republican pollster who handles House and Senate and governor's races about 10 days ago now, let me see, just after Thanksgiving, so I'm gonna call it 10 days ago, who told me, "Yeah, we're trying to find a way, we're trying to find something to split off on that they won't kill us over, and it's really hard."
And here's the problem is as Trump does less and less well, like, you need him to turn out low frequency voters because
100%.
he's alienating the indies, right? They
The
go
independents are now basically 50 to 20 against Trump.
so,
That's insane, by the way.
right, so you're alienating the indies, Dems are not gonna vote for you,
No.
you're splitting apart Republicans, and that's one of the other things I wanna talk about because I think the reason Donald Trump went after Ilhan Omar this weekend, that was another thing he did,
Yep.
was because he cannot get any traction on anything. So he goes
Nothing's
back to the
working.
base
Nothing is
issues.
working for him, Molly. Nothing. I mean, everything he has tried in the last, I mean, real talk, since Epstein,
Yeah.
since Pam Bondi gave that statement, "We're not gonna release anything, there's no there, blah, blah, blah." Nothing Trump has done since that point has lasted more than about 3 or 4 days. Now, sometimes he'll get a story, tear down the White House East Wing, that
Yeah,
lasts
that was a
3 or
great
4
one.
days. Sometimes you'll get a story, like the last week on Ukraine stuff, 3 or 4 days, 2 or 3 days, but nothing changes the subject forever like it used to. It all the center of gravity with Trump, he used to blow up the media cycle, and then the next center of gravity was whatever the next media cycle was for him, whatever he blew
He
up
would
next. But
he used to
now he
s
blows
they
up the
used
media
to s
cycle, then it's back to Epstein.
right. They used to say he was the assignment editor, remember that?
Oh, yeah, for sure, for sure. And then look, I do think, to get back to these Republican candidates, all of them know what's happening. Their consultants right now are looking for the timing of when they break with Trump and hoping it won't kill off turnout when they break with Trump.
And it
So you're
will.
gonna see a lot of these guys after their primaries are over in the spring or early summer say, "Man, I really wish the president would do something different on tariffs," because they won't be murdered at that point. But it's not, it's gonna be too late.
It's the Tom Tillis thing, right? We see
Sure.
Tom Tillis breaking with Trump because he's not running again.
Right.
We see, but I wanna go to why we keep going back to Epstein because I have a theory, and I
Mhm.
wanna talk to you about it.
Mhm.
The reason that we keep going back to Epstein is because the ranking member of oversight, keeps releasing stuff about
Yes.
Epstein. And he keeps releasing stuff about Epstein because he's a young guy, right?
Yep.
He's a young, competent guy. His name is Robert Garcia. I talk about him
Mhm.
a lot. I
Mhm.
talk about oversight a lot because when you're not in power, you have very few things you can do. And one of the very few things that Democrats can do right now is message Epstein.
Yep.
Oversight has this power to subpoena. They subpoenaed the estate. If Jerry Connolly were still the head of
Oh,
oversight,
don't even start. It would be a disaster.
he died
Yeah.
because Democratic leadership was scared to tell him he couldn't have the
That's
job.
right.
So they gave him the job even though he was sick and he was having treatment for cancer and was in his late 70s. He died and Garcia got the job.
This is the classic crisis management problem. I've helped corporate clients, political clients for 30 years deal with crises. And when you're in it on your own, it's never as easy as it looks on the outside, but there are rules every time in a crisis management situation. Get the truth out. No matter how much it hurts in the short term, drip, drip, drip is always worse for you in the end than one big reveal.
Hmm.
The second part of it is go out and say what you're going to do to reform yourself and your process and your company. Trump can't release this stuff for a host of reasons, both about himself and about some of his donors and about people he likes and about people in the corporate world. And he can't reform himself. He doesn't care about human trafficking. He doesn't care about what happened
Mhm.
to these the victims of Epstein and Maxwell. And the final part of any crisis like this is you have to learn from it. You have to behave in a different way in the future. You can't just say we're going to reform in this way. You have to show it. You have to walk the walk. And he can never do that. He is an old, sick, cruel guy with a lifelong history of abusing women in various capacities and manners, much of which we know about from the legal record, much of which we know about from the divorce record, from the social record, from his long behavioral pattern. He even if he was still healthy, he couldn't change. And
I
now
wanted
they're stuck with him, and they're stuck with this. Republicans own this crisis.
so Marjorie Taylor Greene says that she talks to Donald Trump, and Donald Trump says, "You don't want the Epstein files released because it's gonna hurt a lot of people."
Who cares?
But also, who is it
And look,
going to hurt?
yeah,
What
the
does he
correct answer
mean?
is it's gonna hurt people that Trump has political and financial relationships with. We know some of the tick, tick, tick on this will end up implicating people that are in business and politics and media, and it's going to burn some people to the ground that he likes. It's gonna hurt him, we
Right,
know.
I
But
mean, I feel like
there are other people
that's
who
part
are
of
more
it.
criminal, probably have more criminal exposure than he does in
Right,
this.
for sure, and they're Republican donors, and some of them may even be Democratic donors, and honestly, who cares? Because
Yep.
getting after people who do child sex trafficking is a nonpartisan
Yeah,
activity.
and listen, I will say this. I have you know, when Democrats screw up, I will tell them they're screwing up. But they have been
Mhm.
very good about this, about saying, "Let the chips fall where they may. Let it roll." I
Yeah,
don't see Democrats out there saying, "Well, we don't wanna hurt anybody on our." They don't.
right.
They're doing Democrats are doing the correct thing here by saying, "Fuck it. If Bill Clinton's in the file, Bill Clinton's in the file. Oh,
Yeah,
well."
yeah.
And that's the right way to approach it. But Trump clearly is picking and choosing. Now, I wanna ask you a question because I had somebody the other day
Please.
ask me, a friend of mine said to me, he goes, "Do you think Trump is going through this material and going to some of these corporate people that are in there and basically blackmailing them?" And I'm
Uh,
like, "It
Probably
wouldn't shock
not.
me." I don't have any evidence of that, but I wanted to get your thought on that because I mean, if he had the files in front of him.
Trump is never doing three-dimensional chess.
No.
So, it's hard for me to imagine that he's doing something like that. Like, sure, would that make sense? Absolutely. Do I think he's doing it? Probably not. I just think he's not that organized. I think, like, largely what this crew does is just, like, react to problems.
Right.
I don't, like, do I think he's not firing people because it was why he had so many leaks the first time around? Yes. Do I think he, like, gave Hegseth that job because he liked the way he looked on television? Yes. Do I think that he's, like, no. I think
Okay.
they have it somewhere, they're like, "We're never releasing it." I mean, look, I have a very smart straight journalist friend who said they're gonna just release and release and release, but only stuff on Democrats.
Right.
But I don't actually think so. I think they're just gonna try not to release any of it for as long as they can.
I think this the Stonewall tactic is gonna last through the election.
Oh,
They're gonna
and I think
we've
they're
gotta
just gonna
protect
be
the
like, "Sue
victims.
us." I just think they're gonna be like, "Sue us, fuck you."
Yeah,
Like, that's the thing. It's like, Trump is not Putin. There's, like, a temptation like, I was thinking about this because I was thinking, like, when they went after Comey, I was thinking, like, they're gonna just create some crimes, like the way Russia does,
sure.
They're gonna, like, put something on his hard drive and be like, "You did this." They're not smart like that. For whatever reason, they're not. So they don't do stuff like that. They just are like, "We're gonna go after him for lying to the FBI because he said because of a leak." And it's, like, such a convoluted thing that you can't so I don't think that. And I mean, like, a great example is last week when they were trying to get this indictment and they just couldn't get the indictment on Tish James because they just didn't have anything and they kept trying. They're just not so good. I mean, thank God they're not so good at
I was just gonna
this.
say that we should all be relieved by that knowledge. And we and if you're on the victim list or if you're on the Epstein victim list, those people really want answers. They want more stuff released. They want accountability.
Mhm.
And it just goes back again, anytime these people in Trump universe say, "Oh, it's all about the children and we're protecting victims from traffickers," it's all a lie.
Yeah.
It's
It's
all a
never
lie.
it's never, ever, ever about the children.
No, no, it
No,
really never
it
is.
never is. Thank you, Rick Wilson.
You are, as always, welcome. I look forward to seeing you next week.